This is the Saros 10R Robot Vacuum and Mop from Roborock, and to me, it's one of the most impressive home cleaning devices I've used in a while. If you've ever shopped for a robot vacuum, you know what a headache it can be comparing all the specs and features. I used to worry about pet hair, obstacles on the floor, noise at night, hair getting tangled, and whether the robot could actually get under my furniture. That's why I want to give you a quick review, sharing everything I noticed after having this thing cruise around my house for several weeks. Talking about its look, the Saros 10R comes in a really sleek matte black design. It's super low profile, just 3.14 inches tall, and honestly, having that flat top makes a difference. I used to have a vacuum with that giant spinning dome for navigation on top, which always meant it couldn't go under my cabinet or couch. The Saros doesn't have that. The LiDAR is tucked away, so it just glides under my bed, sideboard, and those lower shelves without any issues. If you've got a lot of different furniture heights at home or struggle to vacuum tight spaces, I think you'll immediately notice how much more this model can reach. In my opinion, low profile is a huge win. From my experience, another thing that stands out is Roborock's approach to obstacle avoidance on this model. If you haven't heard of obstacle avoidance before, it's the way a robot figures out how not to bump into stuff, whether it's your shoes, cables, or pet bowls. The Saros 10R uses what they call the StarSight system, basically a camera and sensors across the front, along with this vertibeam tech to scan and recognize over 100 types of objects on your floor. I was a little skeptical at first since my kids tend to leave out tiny toys and the dog throws his chew bones everywhere. But watching the robot in action, it avoided pretty much everything except, sometimes, little Legos tucked in a corner it couldn't spot. Even so, the number of jams or error messages I got compared to my older vac was almost nothing. It even steers around cords, plus it can map rooms super precisely, even under stuff where there's barely any clearance. Let's talk about cleaning power, because that's really what matters. This vacuum is beefy. The suction actually picked up more pet hair than my manual vacuum in a couple areas, especially along my hallway carpet. There's a key feature called the Duo Divide rollers. Basically, it's got two brushes with a split down the middle. If you live with anyone with long hair, you know those brushes just become this tangled mess. I used to spend as much time cutting the hair out as I did vacuuming. But here's the thing, the hair just doesn't wrap the same way. The way the rollers work, stuff gets channeled right into the middle and sucked up, and I've been relieved that I didn't have to spend half an hour once a week cleaning those brushes by hand. Now, mop function. I admit, before trying robot mops, I figured they just sort of wiped a wet rag around. The Saros 10R actually has what's called a FlexiArm Riser, which is a fancy way of saying that the side brush and mop can extend when they're near the wall or a corner, so they sweep and wipe farther into the edge. This helps, since a lot of older robots just miss those bits entirely. It even lifts itself and removes the mop pads when it senses carpet. There's a built-in sensor for that, so it won't soak your rugs. Just like that, it can go vacuum only on carpets without you having to pull the mop pads off yourself. Another feature I didn't expect to like but now appreciate is the multifunctional dock. This is where the robot goes home. Here it auto-empties the interior dustbin. The robot has a small bin for dirt and hair it collects, but you don't have to touch it much, because the dock has a bigger dust bag. It also washes and even blow dries the mop pads with really hot water, so mold and odors aren't as big a concern for me as with my last mop robot. You'll need to fill the clean water tank every now and then. But honestly, it's been almost hands-off compared to anything else I tried. Just swap out a bag or dump dirty water about once a week. The detergent gets mixed automatically too, which is one less thing to worry about. The Saros 10R also has this feature that blew my mind a little. If the robot senses the water it used to clean is dirty after a mopping session, it will actually tell itself to go back and mop again before it's done with the room. I usually run it at night, and in the morning, my floors are noticeably cleaner. With 2 dogs, that's saying something. For folks who have heavy traffic areas or pets that track in mud or dust, this will absolutely help you out. For anyone who likes having control from their phone, you can set up cleaning schedules, map out multiple room layouts, and create no-go zones right in the app. I set up pet zones and keep it out of the kids' Lego corner, and it really works. If you're a techie, you'll love that it links to Alexa, Google, Apple, and even has a built-in Hello Rocky assistant that responds to voice commands. Plus, there's a camera on the robot itself. Sounds a bit futuristic, but I've actually used it to check in on my pets from work. It can even send me a picture if it finds them, which is a fun extra. Let's be honest, not everything is perfect. If you have super thick, high-pile carpet, it picks up almost everything, but not every last hair, and heavy messes sometimes take more than one pass or cycle on the toughest spots. The side brush that pops out doesn't always extend properly under super tight furniture, and the first time setting up the map for your home can take a little patience. The more complicated your house, the more you'll have to fiddle with zones and paths in the app. Also, I know the price is a bit higher compared to other models, so if you just want a bare-bones vac for light cleaning, maybe something simpler will do. But from my experience, all the automation, how rarely you have to mess with the dock or clean hair out of the rollers, and the fact that it can run almost silently make a big daily difference. The robot can work overnight or while I'm out, and it won't wake anyone up or get stuck halfway. If you're a pet owner, have allergies, or simply like having all your floors dust and hair free, especially under the futon, couch, and bed, this kind of bot will save you time and effort. Everything about the design, from the way it lifts over thresholds to the deep cleaning and smart camera, has made my day-to-day life a lot less stressful.